Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Behind Marketing Lines, where stories fuel growth. I'm your host, Zeeshan, and today my guest is Shyam Sunder. Sham, good to see you behind Marketing Lines.
Thanks, Zeeshan. How are you?
I'm okay.
I'm all excited.
So am I. So we've been having this discussion for quite some time now, and finally we decided to do this. So I'll head straight to the questions, Sham. What if your life was a movie? What's the title and how does it start?
Okay, so it's one of those dramatic moments of my life.
Right.
So let's just kind of visualize it. It's a 12-year-old boy
Okay.
getting up very early in the morning,
Interesting.
gets ready for school, packs his bag, school bag,
Okay.
puts in a little more than the normal school stuff, has a look at his parents and his sister at home,
Right.
and then he leaves the house, takes his bicycle,
Right.
and starts his journey to Mumbai.
Interesting.
So where it starts is Pune. So this boy starts pedaling his way all the way to Mumbai to kind of, I don't know what it was that time, but maybe to pursue stardom. So that will be the start of, that movie.
Okay.
And the title is, I just thought about the title. It should say fear. And the next line in italics, it should say less. Fear less.
Wow. I like it. Right. It's very dramatic indeed.
Very dramatic.
What if your life was a book? What chapter are we at right now?
It should say something like variety is the spice of life.
Interesting.
There's a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. So that'd be an interesting title.
When I look at your LinkedIn, you've done a lot. And where you are right now, I mean, you're an accomplished marketer. So how did you get into marketing? What's your origin story?
When I look back somewhere beyond the academics, there's always been a lot of creativity born in me.
Right.
I come from a very creative family.
Oh, interesting.
We are all very inclined to arts, especially, a lot of music runs in the family and performers as also.
Nice.
So, but mine was more of, I was bent into advertising. So I literally walked off the road and walked into one of the largest and the best advertising agencies at that time, which is Mudra. I had a lot of hunger for success. I came with a lot of burning passion to prove myself and to make a difference. So that's all I had when I walked into Mudra.
Interesting. So that's how you got into marketing.
That's how I got into
Did you
marketing.
study marketing or business studies, or no, you were from a different field, but you landed into marketing?
No, I graduated in commerce because in Chennai, where I spent most of my life in Chennai. Commerce was a big kind of most of how it is
Right.
in the south. A lot of professionals are from the commerce and accounting, and they're very good in finance.
Right.
So while I graduated in commerce, I kind of I was inclined towards the economics part of commerce, but then I quickly knew that advertising and marketing would be my career, and my post graduation was in marketing management.
Right.
And that's how I got into advertising.
Interesting. You are accomplished, right? When I look at your LinkedIn, and we have spoken before, we're going to be on a panel discussion together, hopefully very soon. So was there any plot twist so far, or was the journey very smooth?
Oh, the journey has not been smooth at all.
Okay.
I've had many purple patches in my career. It's been a long career, but there's been a lot of bumps, lots of highs and lows. But I would say, when you look at my life, I think one pivotal moment would be my marriage itself.
Right.
So I think somewhere you can define my life into two chapters. If you have to, then it's before and after marriage.
Interesting.
I think my life has been kind of turned out to be much better. It was a very bold and controversial decision, but then it's really paid off in my life. I've never looked back since that moment.
Interesting. I'm glad it worked out. Perfect. So looking back, was there a defining moment in your life, that okay, I am choosing marketing as my career? Was I mean, did you have options, or you were like, no, marketing and advertising it is,
Yeah.
and this is how I'm moving forward?
Yeah. So I did enough, I did a lot of quality advertising
Right.
in my years in India. And then I did get that opportunity to move into marketing. I was selected from Chennai by a very large conglomerate here in Dubai. And that would be another pivotal kind of moment where you move from advertising to marketing.
Right.
And I absolutely enjoyed that move, you know. What marketing brings is custodianship, responsibility. You're more in control of the game. It's a big moment because it's also the shift to Dubai, and this was in 2005. By the way, I'm completing 20 years in Dubai.
Wow.
So this episode and this podcast means a lot. I'm completing 20 years on the 4th of December. So it's
Interesting.
been 20 years. Yeah, it's been amazing. The ride has been amazing.
Wow. Well, I think this is a special episode because you are completing 20 years, and that is something. So apart from your day job, are you working on anything which excites you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on right now, and I'm happy about that. So my day job is with this travel tech company. But apart from that, I do dabble a bit with something very interesting, which is I'm one of the founding members of potentially the world's first beach volleyball franchise league.
That is very interesting.
So yeah, it's very kind of it's very different. So but 4 years back we started. Some of us came together and said that the beach volleyball sport lacks glamour, it lacks money, it needs its due kind of big showpiece, and therefore we started the thinking of why don't we create a league, and then we just finished. Let's say a showcase event last weekend.
Interesting.
It was fantastic. The experience was fantastic. That's something which is very exciting, and I think we are moving towards building that the dream of launching a league in a year's time.
So from working with TBO.com,
Yeah.
and he leads marketing and everything that marketing entails at TBO.com, and you are now one of the founding members of a franchise for beach volleyball. What are the challenges that you're facing these days, and how are you planning to overcome those challenges? And this question I specifically ask because a lot of the viewers we have are aspiring marketers and young marketers, and they need to know, okay, how is Sham doing it? Because they want to understand, okay, there is a lot that's happening at my work and I'm unable to juggle all the balls together.
Marketing today is very complex. I must say it's not easy to manage expectations of any business for that matter. Businesses itself are very kind of short-sighted. Everyone wants quick return on investments. Patience are low. Every quarter needs to be strong. So there's a lot of challenge, or let's say there's a lot of pressure on marketers to perform quickly. And that kind of impacts the quality of marketing itself. So the key challenges today is that how do you balance brand and demand? How do you balance creativity, intuition, kind of innovation? One needs to balance both, and one needs to find, you need to find the buy-in from your senior leadership on balancing both. Budgets are under pressure. Like I said, you have to perform quickly, and that itself is very demanding because you're moving at a pace where the customer or the consumer may not be able to respond to your actions as quickly as you want them to. These are the challenges, and therefore, you can say that they are exciting as well. These are new challenges which we need to grapple with these days.
No, 100%. I mean, back in the days, marketing used to be like homeopathic medicine, right?
Yeah,
You
I
keep
know.
on,
Now it's steroids.
Exactly. And now it has to be on steroids.
Steroids, yeah.
Something is changing. You wake up in the morning and something has happened.
Yeah.
So I think exciting, of course, for all of us, the marketers, but it's equally challenging as well. Let's zoom into a day in your life,
Yeah.
if you may, for all the aspiring and young marketers. How do you do all this? So, how do you start your day? How do you end it? And how do you accomplish so much?
So my typical day would be waking up as early as 4:30. Most of Dubai is and peak sleep kind of pattern, but I wake up very early. We go for a walk, wife and myself, around the house. Yeah, not much, but just half an hour, 45 minutes of good brisk walk. Come back. I do consume a bit of news in the morning. I still enjoy the joy of reading the newspaper, but I do digital reading as well. I catch up on what's going on. I do check my office mails, so work mails. I do check in the morning. I kind of know what to do that day, and I kind of mentally at least make notes of the to-do tasks for the day. And then I'm up again. I'm off to office early. I switch on the lights. I switch on the air conditioning in my office. I'm one of the first in the office. I like that. I get a bit of quiet time in the office to kind of get ready for the day. We have a team meeting unfailingly. It has to be done first thing in the morning before everyone gets into their kind of grind. We do a team meeting, and then I prefer to do a lunch with someone in the industry. I prefer to network. I prefer to do lunch, catch up with people. So, and then I work from home rest of the day. The day can go on a bit late because we do have the Americas, which are just waking up at that time. So, and then I finish by around 6:30. Dinner, early dinner also, and then we catch up a little bit of television, and then I crash by 9. If what I'm watching on television is really good, then I could crash out at 10. But if the stuff is not, if the content is not great, then I crash out at 9:30 maximum.
That's pretty interesting. So, what's one lesson that you learned the hard way in your life?
The harder you fall, the higher you kind of rise. Life itself is full of those bumps, and I think the lesson and advice for anyone would be then if you're down, get up. You have to get up and rebound. There's no other option really. So. And then and life can get very hard on giving you those punches quite often, so but then you got to rebound and get back to what you're best at. And I've done that many times in my life. In fact, the harder I've fallen, the higher I have risen also. So in a way, success equals failure, so it's good. You learn a lot from those kind of experiences.
What if you were to give an advice to the future marketer? What would that be?
The current crop of marketers who are coming into the industry, they are under pressure to perform quickly, and therefore they tend to move into actions before even kind of working out the strategy. So that is something which is not good for any business. I came from the time when we were putting brand in the heart of everything we do in marketing, and today, unfortunately, it's performance which is now kind of defines marketing success. So for me, the marketeers who are coming into today, I urge them to kind of step back and do enough research, observe, learn, spend a lot of time with customers themselves. The more time you spend with your customer, the more prepared you are to face the market challenges. Look at the customer, look at the competition as well. You can learn a lot from the competitors and then move into planning and action. So I think we need marketers to be able to balance the long term with the short term goals. So that's something which I want to see in the coming years.
Right.
It's not going to be easy, but
No, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think they need to balance that,
You
right?
need to balance that, yeah.
What's one underrated framework or practice, do you think, or maybe an application, a mobile application that you think is very underrated, but you think that, it makes a difference in one's life?
From a work perspective, execution is key, especially
Right.
in marketing. You got to get things done. For me, a very simple kind of habit would be to write down what needs to be done, So I do have a kind of a ready reckoner staring at me in the office, which kind of lists down everything I need to do. It's done across regions because we are truly a global company. And then at a central level, also, what is that I'm driving for the brand? I do stare at that every day so that I don't. But on a daily basis, what I also do is to kind of write down the tasks for the day
Right.
and make sure it closes. Make sure my team also closes it. Um, that's simple, but I don't leave things to memory. Memory can always fail us. So, and I tell my team also, never leave anything to memory. You have to have that ritual of writing down, and you just got to tick what is done for the day. So that's the great practice I've always followed.
What if you were teaching a crash course to your younger self?
Oh, anger management.
Right.
I do get very emotional. I bring a lot of emotion into work. It's a good thing because a lot of my great work is is a result of that passion and emotion I bring to the table. But then it does have a flip side.
Of course.
It can kind of be a bit destructive as well. It's not good at times. You channel anger in a good way. It's good for work in life, but I think that's something which I kind of constantly battle, like how to manage emotions better at work.
Right. And now we'll move to the rapid fire round. I'll start with the professional ones. So, SEO or paid?
I have to say both, but if you have to choose one, it has to be SEO.
Brand or performance marketing?
If I have to choose, I would put brand over performance.
Creativity or data?
Any day, creativity over data.
Interesting. Startup hustle or corporate structure?
Yeah, a mix of both is good for any organization.
Books or podcasts?
I would prefer books for quality kind of knowledge.
LinkedIn or Instagram?
LinkedIn, I heavily rely on LinkedIn for inspiration.
AI or human intuition?
Human for sure.
Global campaigns or local activations?
You need global standards, you need global campaigns, you need global concepts, themes, but it has to be locally executed with the local culture, language, keeping the local ethos in mind.
TV ads or TikTok reels?
Whatever makes a difference in the behavior of a customer. If it's TikTok, then why not? Television is definitely a more quality kind of viewing, but the way short formats are today, I think TikTok is making a big difference.
Working from office or remote working?
Oh, I love going to office.
Risk taking or playing it safe?
Risk taking. I'll never play it safe.
Early mornings or late nights? I think
Early
we know the
mornings.
answer. Mountains or beaches?
Mountains. I'm a mountain. I love everything about the mountains.
Reading or web series?
Both can be entertaining, but I don't read as much as I used to. I used to be a huge, big, voracious reader, but right now, yeah, web series. I spend a lot of time watching a lot of content.
Solo travel or group trips?
I like both. I love being in groups. I've done a lot of travel with groups.
Are you a minimalist or a collector?
Both.
Finally, city life or countryside?
I like both, but we need to balance it.
No, of course.
I love the energy of a city life. I kind of like the good stress about it, but then when it gets a bit too much, you want to kind of run away to somewhere lonely.
I'm sitting with an accomplished marketer and I have to ask this. What if your life was a marketing campaign? What would the tagline be?
The power of passion.
Wow, I like it. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received from your marketing mentors or life gurus?
Control emotions better at work.
At work and in life, maybe?
Maybe in life, but they saw it kind of at work. So controlling emotions at work, yeah.
marketing actually excites you every day, and it's really, really hard to control your
Control
emotions.
emotions,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then things are happening in the runtime. If the
Yeah.
campaign is live and something happens,
Mhm.
so now there is ChatGPT, so you have to, to humanize it, you have to make sure that there is at least one spelling mistake, right?
That's true.
But back in the days, if there was a spelling mistake, then people would lose their jobs. Right?
The entire profession of proofreading is dead now.
That is
You
correct.
just need to rely on tech to do that.
That is so true. And if you had to describe your journey in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
So the 3 words still would be power of passion.
Power of passion.
Passion.
Interesting. This is a very interesting question. So,
Yeah.
if marketing as we know it was to disappear tomorrow, right? And you get to wear that superhero cape and go out, fight, and bring one thing back, what would it be? Would it be PR or performance marketing or brand management or copywriting, or I don't know? I mean, I'll leave it to you.
It is brand building.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
already a disappearing kind of craft, but it is brand building. I would start from scratch for any business. So that's what I would like to bring back.
How do we instill that into the entrepreneurs? I mean, I see a lot of startups. They come to you for advice because they know that you're a marketer, right? Happens to me all the time. People within my friends, family, or extended family, they're like, okay, I've built this product or I've started this company and it's not working. Okay, Habibi, you built it, but you need to tell people about it, right? And before you go and tell
Yeah.
people, this needs to be in a good shape and
Yeah.
form, some consistency, but no, nobody cares and they don't want to do it. They're like, you're the marketer, you tell us.
Yeah. So awareness is one important kind of goal, but that is very basic. What are we trying to do with marketing? We are trying to change behavior. So that's what will make the customer choose our brand versus another brand. If you have to change the behavior of a customer, then one needs to then kind of drill down into what's your differentiation. So it
Agreed.
starts with differentiation, and then it would then be a reflective kind of a process where you say, what are the values I bring to the table? What are my brand values? What's that unique selling proposition which I'm offering? What's that in the market which is not there? What is the gap in the market which I'm trying to fill in? How does my brand play a meaningful role in the life of the customer?
True.
These are the questions, and that is what brand building is all about, to create the differentiation. That's where we need marketeers, strong marketeers who have a strong voice, who have a strong opinion. You understand? So that there needs to be some level of maturity and experience, which then converts into that conviction and the confidence to go and stand in front of the leadership and say, I'm sorry, but this is not going to work. You got to do it this way. So, and that's what is missing today. You're absolutely right. People move straight into performance and actions and get into the Instagram, start. No, it doesn't work that way. You're not going to get anything out of that. In the short term, it may give you some results, but then you're going to have customers churn out because they came to your platform, or they bought into your product or your brand for the wrong reasons.
That is so true.
Which may be a 10% off or a push for a promo. So that's not sustainable.
Positioning is really important.
Positioning is very important.
I totally
How do
agree
you
with you.
position your brand in the mind of the customer?
Agreed.
How do you stay there in the mind, and how do you stay relevant? That's
That is
another
so
thing.
true.
It's a fast changing world. You have a positioning, and then someone else comes and kind of takes that, does a better job. You have to then evolve to something else which is kind of reflects your core values. So it's a constant kind of a challenge, but it's exciting as well.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Bigger corporate level, I understand it. Then companies, they have budgets and
Yeah.
they can hire marketers like
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
and then they can get
Yeah.
the work done. But again, going back to the startups, because now it's happening that a lot of my peers come to me for advice, and the only thing I tell them is, please involve a marketer from the beginning. Very recently, a clinic opened up somewhere
Yeah.
in this part of the world, and the name that they chose for the clinic was very awkward, and I didn't get it. And I asked an Arab that, okay, do you get the name? He's like, I don't get it either, because
Oh my
it's
God.
just name they selected because that was available. What are you talking about?
Starting point itself.
100%.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at the branding, so they asked somebody to do the branding for them, and probably 3 different people worked on it. So on 3 different things, there were 3 different logos and 3 different colors being used. For us, it's you're dead as a marketer. I sat down with them, I fixed everything. They were like, yeah, but we'll have to now spend a lot of money, fixing this. Yep, involve a marketer from the beginning so that you don't have to go through this.
Yeah, I think one needs to also realize that a lot of founders, whether they're startups or large companies, they seek inspiration. They don't know the game, enough. So they want us marketeers, we marketeers, to lead the way, to inspire them. So that's where the selling in comes. We always say that the battle begins within.
True.
So, and that's why we need marketeers with a lot of passion, conviction, a lot of confidence, because they look at us for the confidence.
Agreed.
You can influence, you can sway decisions purely based on how confident you are, and they look up to that. If you fail in that mission, then means you are not good enough for the job. It's as simple as that.
That is so true. And this reminds me that the famous line from Mad Men, right? Where
Yeah.
Don Draper says,
Yeah.
advertising is, the smell of the new car, and
Okay.
advertising
Yes.
is a billboard,
Yeah.
probably on Sheikh Zayed Road, that tells you that, everything is going to be okay. You're okay. So, which brings me to an important question. I'm pretty sure you must have put a lot of billboards out there
Yeah.
in different parts of the world. What if you get a chance to put a billboard on Sheikh Zayed Road about yourself? So, what would that billboard say if it's marketing you?
Have guts? Question mark. Find glory.
That's a good one. When the credits roll on your professional journey, what would you want those lines to read?
For all those who gave their best, no matter what.
It's very
It
deep,
sums up.
right? No, of course it is. As they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So this is behind marketing lines.
Yeah.
And what happens behind marketing lines stays behind marketing lines. It would just go on a podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, but it
Oh
stays
my
there.
God. Fine.
So one funny incident from your marketing career that you never mentioned to anyone, but probably from the early days or later, something which you look back now and seems funny.
It's many instances. I keep looking at. Oh my God, there was some very embarrassing moments.
Right.
I remember this case. It kind of stands out in all the memories. But there was this case where I I went for a project against a huge competitor. Of course, I was relying on a partner to deliver the project, but I
Right.
went against a very big competitor in that market. My partner let me down,
Oh, okay.
and I had to work with a competitor to
Interesting.
get that job done. Can you believe it? I went against him in an open kind of a tender kind of a situation.
Right.
And then when my partner disappeared, my vendor disappeared, I had to work with the competitor to get that stuff done. So I remember that very well. It was embarrassing, and I just had to do it. The job had to be done.
Well, things we do for love, and marketing is love, right? That is what,
Yeah.
we do what we do every day. Well, thank you,
Thank you,
Sham.
Zees. Thank you so much.
It was amazing. Anything else that you would like to
Nothing
add?
else. Thank you, Zee. I really value what you're doing. I think it just shows your passion shows in every episode you have done, and I really appreciate what you do. So it's great for the community, for the industry. Thank you so much.
You're very kind. Well, that was the story of Sham, and I'll see you in the next episode.